The camera glides through the pristine streets of Alexandria, Kentucky, where morning mist clings to white picket fences like secrets waiting to be exposed. Behind these facades of suburban perfection, a darkness festers that would soon consume an entire family. Bob Bosley had everything the American dream promised. At 42, his roofing empire commanded respect throughout Kentucky. Employees spoke of his legendary generosity, paying for widows' repairs at Christmas, slipping cash to struggling workers without expecting repayment. His success bought him luxury cars, boats on Lake Cumberland, and a beautiful family home where laughter once echoed through the halls. But behind every fortune lies a shadow, and some shadows are worth killing for. At 4:47 a.m., Amy Bosley's voice shatters the pre-dawn silence. Her frantic 911 call sends chills through the dispatcher's spine as she describes an intruder breaking into their home. Heavy footsteps thunder in the background. A struggle erupts. Then, silence. When officers arrive, they discover a scene that defies comprehension. Bob Bosley lies motionless on his mattress, 7 bullet wounds decorating his body like deadly punctuation marks. 2 shell casings gleam on the bedroom floor. The house appears ransacked, cabinets torn open, prescription bottles scattered across the floor like fallen leaves. Amy sits trembling, her nightshirt torn, scratches marking her chest and neck like a roadmap of violence. She describes her husband's killer with haunting precision. A white male, 5'6", wearing a stocking mask. The detail that makes investigators' blood run cold. He smelled of urine and spoke with a speech impediment. 2 children, ages 7 and 10, huddle in their rooms, their innocence shattered by the violence that consumed their world. Detective Sarah Mills surveys the crime scene with the trained eye of someone who has witnessed humanity's darkest moments. Something feels wrong. The killer supposedly entered through a broken window in the back door. Yet the evidence tells a different story. Glass shards lie primarily outside the house, suggesting the window was broken from within. The apparent motive seems obvious. Drugs, pills scattered across bathroom floors, medicine cabinets ransacked. But then investigators make a discovery that changes everything. Nude photographs hidden in Bob's safe. Not of his wife, of other women. Bob's secret life emerges like a photograph, developing in a dark room. Boat parties on Lake Cumberland, where alcohol flowed freely and inhibitions disappeared. Young women, clients, friends, all part of Bob's hedonistic escape from business pressures. Among them was Darla Cope, 10 years younger and devastatingly beautiful. Had jealousy finally demanded its deadly price? Forensic examiner Maureen Betrayal makes a discovery that turns the investigation upside down. Hidden beneath the basement stairs, she finds an aluminum baseball bat embedded with glass fragments. Using refractive index analysis, she proves the fragments match the broken window perfectly. But this bat belongs to the Bosley children. If it was used to break the window from inside, then Amy's entire story crumbles like a house of cards. The basement yields another shocking revelation. Inside the washing machine, buried beneath waterlogged clothes, investigators find 4 more shell casings wrapped in a towel. Combined with the 2 found upstairs, they account for 6 of the 7 shots that killed Bob Bosley. All 6 casings came from the same gun. But where is the 7th? And more importantly, where is the murder weapon that stole a father's life? The Internal Revenue Service calls with information that stops the investigation cold. For 5 years, someone has been systematically stealing from Bob's roofing company. Federal taxes, state taxes, workers' compensation, Social Security, all withheld from employee paychecks, but never sent to the government. The debt, $1.7 million. Amy Bosley, the company bookkeeper, had been intercepting every payment. When IRS investigators scheduled a meeting with Bob, Amy disguised her voice on the phone in an attempt to impersonate her husband. The agent's report documented that her voice sounded like someone acting like Kermit the Frog. The meeting was scheduled for the morning after Bob's murder. According to investigators, this timing was not coincidental. Amy's carefully constructed story begins to unravel thread by thread. The children heard gunshots first, then glass breaking, not the sequence Amy claimed. Her torn nightshirt was cut with scissors, not ripped by an attacker. Her injuries were self-inflicted, the scratches too precise, too controlled. Most damning of all, within hours of her husband's murder, Amy calls the IRS with chilling composure. She cancels the scheduled meeting with the explanation that Bob has been murdered. The truth emerges like a cancer spreading through the investigation. Amy believed that with Bob dead, the tax liability would vanish. She convinced herself that federal debts would simply disappear when the business owner died. Her delusion ran deeper than anyone imagined. For 5 years, she had masterfully hidden her embezzlement from her own husband, yet she failed to understand basic corporate law. Personal liability follows the living, and Amy was very much alive. For weeks, investigators searched relentlessly for the weapon that ended Bob Bosley's life. They dredged ponds, deployed K-9 units, combed through every inch of property. The gun seemed to have vanished into thin air. Then came the break that would seal Amy's fate forever. Security footage reveals Amy leaving her home after the murder without her purse, a detail that initially seemed insignificant in the chaos. Her sister carries the bag instead, unknowingly becoming an unwilling accomplice to murder. After Amy's arrest, her sister finally examines the purse's contents. Perhaps curiosity overwhelmed her. Perhaps the weight of secrets became unbearable. Inside, nestled among lipstick and house keys, she discovers Bob Bosley's own 9mm handgun, the very weapon Amy used to execute her husband. The irony cuts deep. Amy trusted her sister with the most damning evidence, believing family loyalty would protect her final secret. Instead, her sister hires an attorney and properly turns the weapon over to authorities. Ballistics experts work their scientific magic. The microscopic scratches and markings are like fingerprints, unique, undeniable, damning. The weapon that stole Bob's life becomes the final nail in Amy's coffin. The horrifying timeline becomes clear. On that fateful night, Amy waited for her husband to fall asleep. She took his own gun and shot him 7 times at point-blank range. She collected the shell casings, missing 2 in her panic. She ransacked her own home, broke the window from inside using her children's baseball bat, then hid the evidence in her basement. She cut her clothes with scissors, scratched herself to simulate a struggle, then delivered an Academy Award-worthy performance to 911 operators. Amy made one fatal mistake. She forgot that truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep it's buried. 1 year later, Amy Bosley accepts a plea bargain, 20 years in prison for first-degree murder. She spares her children the trauma of testifying against their mother, though they had already witnessed something far worse. The courtroom falls silent as the judge delivers the sentence. Amy shows no emotion, her face a mask of cold acceptance. Behind her, Bob's parents clutch each other, their grief mingling with rage at the woman who stole their son's life and shattered their grandchildren's innocence. The $1.7 million remains missing, likely funding their once lavish lifestyle. The boats that cruised Lake Cumberland, the luxury cars that sat in their driveway, the dream home that became a house of horrors. Investigators believe Amy may have hidden additional funds, planning for her eventual. The camera glides through the pristine streets of Alexandria, Kentucky, where morning mist clings to white picket fences like secrets waiting to be exposed. Behind these facades of suburban perfection, a darkness festers that would soon consume an entire family. Bob Bosley had everything the American dream promised. At 42, his roofing empire commanded respect throughout Kentucky. Employees spoke of his legendary generosity, paying for widows' repairs at Christmas, slipping cash to struggling workers without expecting repayment. His success bought him luxury cars, boats on Lake Cumberland, and a beautiful family home where laughter once echoed through the halls. But behind every fortune lies a shadow, and some shadows are worth killing for. At 4:47 a.m., Amy Bosley's voice shatters the pre-dawn silence. Her frantic 911 call sends chills through the dispatcher's spine as she describes an intruder breaking into their home. Heavy footsteps thunder in the background. A struggle erupts. Then, silence. When officers arrive, they discover a scene that defies comprehension. Bob Bosley lies motionless on his mattress, 7 bullet wounds decorating his body like deadly punctuation marks. Two shell casings gleam on the estimated investigators' persistence, forensic science's reliability, and the simple fact that children hear everything. She thought she was saving her family from financial ruin. Instead, she destroyed them completely. The case stands as a chilling reminder that sometimes the greatest danger comes not from strangers in the night, but from those who share our beds and know our deepest vulnerabilities. In Alexandria, Kentucky, the morning mist still clings to suburban streets, but residents sleep less soundly now, knowing that evil doesn't always announce itself with a stocking mask and the smell of fear. Sometimes it whispers goodnight and kisses you on the forehead, and sometimes it pulls the trigger while you dream.